So what is TicFit? TicFit is first and foremost an exercise program. It is not designed to cure, diagnose, or treat Tourette's. This is going to be the hardest thing for me to explain because this has not been done before. Any study that has been published proving that fitness and exercise help with Tourette's has been cardiovascular in nature. There have been no studies about specific types of exercise or certain exercise choices helping reduce tics. And I'd like to get more specific. This has been a years-long quest studying different movement systems, different exercise programs with different modalities, and how that can help manage tics and reduce tic frequency and dissipate the urge. So what an exercise program does is progressively over time, it changes the variables. Those variables can include anything from time under tension, exercise selection, complexity, load, rest between sets. And you use all of those different variables to progress you towards your goal. Well, what is the goal of TicFit? We can really only speak to the physical tics. We've seen the iceberg picture. We know that there's so many comorbid conditions, but this is just looking at physical tics. They can change. They can manifest in different ways. Some can be present for 6 months and then gone for 2 years and then come back, or they can change weekly. So it's incredibly difficult for there to actually be a published study on specific exercise choices. What I'm looking at is body mechanics. Now, there's a principle in just the fitness world of sports specificity. If you're a baseball thrower, you learn how to throw a baseball and your muscles get really good at doing that. If you have repeated tics over time, you get really good at doing those tics. Well, the body works with muscles that work synergistically together, and then there's muscles that work antagonistically. And as we go through this exercise program, we're looking at body mechanics. So a very common one is, any sort of forward head tic as that. Well, if we look at the body mechanics, a forward head is going to throw your body out of balance. So what are good kinetic chain exercises to help bring that back? We can reverse that with doing chin tucks, with strengthening the upper back. And what we've discovered is that there's usually a point that somebody has urge dissipation, and it comes in different ways. It's different for everybody. For some people, it's trigger pointing a certain muscle in the neck, and I'm still using that forward head tic as an example. Trigger pointing a spot in the neck, trigger pointing a spot in the upper back, doing a certain kind of a stretch, or engaging a different muscle. But there has been, with the dozens of people I've worked with, some point in this process where they find urge dissipation. And I believe that we can study that and we can use these physiological variables within the Tourette's community to put this out into the world and give everyone a platform to figure out how their body can move. And throughout this process, we'll figure out which muscles are ticking, which muscles they can do some soft tissue work on to try to inhibit that, and then figure out which muscles work antagonistically to the ticking muscles. That is the principle of CBIT, to find the competing response. CBIT goes quite a bit further with finding whatever that first urge. CBIT stands for Comprehensive Behavioral Intervention for Tics. I'm hoping one day that TicFit can be an adjunct to that by giving people a platform to figure out how their body moves. And that's not just specific to Tourette's. We should all know how our bodies move and be able to engage certain muscles. I do this, both as a tic, but if we have that forward head tic, then we need to get your upper back muscles involved. And as you go through this process of just figuring out how your body works, how your body tics, it can hopefully make your CBIT sessions more effective. That's the goal. And again, this is the hardest thing to explain because this has not been done before. Any study that's come out about fitness and exercise helping Tourette's has been cardiovascular in nature. There have been no specific studies, and we're trying to get specific. Does certain muscle contraction type help reduce tics? Does trigger pointing help reduce tics? Does body traction help reduce tics? I do believe that there are things that we can study to put out into our Tourette's community, our Tourette's world, to help give people tools to manage this. And that's what TicFit is. It's chasing the unknown variables and figuring out or giving giving people a platform to bring balance back to their body, going back to that forward head tick. If we're constantly ticking like this, one side of your neck's going to be tighter than the other. How can we restore balance? There's a great word that I've discovered from a movement system called DNS, Dynamic Neuromuscular Stabilization, and the word is centration. How can you make your joints centrated, being that there's equal tension all around the joint? If we go to a push-up analogy, when people push up, sometimes their hands are out to the side like this. That's not a centrated joint. We can give certain cues for how to press firmly, and then all of a sudden your wrist is centrated. So if there's somebody that has a wrist tick, well then let's centrate their hand during a push-up to create equal balance. And let's see if that reduces tick urge. Let's see.